Every young rugby player that calls the Rainbow Nation home dreams of one day playing for their country. But the journey that leads to the green and gold is an arduous one, filled with many obstacles. Behind every wearer of the Springbok badge lies a tale of courage, commitment and sacrifice. These are the men that walked the road less traveled.
Now or never.
Pieter-Steph du Toit for his first cap.
On November the 9th, 2013, Pieter-Steph du Toit made his debut for the Springboks as a second-half substitute in a match against Wales at the Millennium Stadium. The cameo performance represented the fulfillment of a lifelong ambition to don the green and gold. 3 years later, the years of blood, sweat and toil culminated in Pieter-Steph earning the honor of being named the 2016 SA Rugby Player of the Year. Du Toit's story began in the picturesque town of Riebeek-Kasteel, just over an hour's drive outside of Cape Town.
I was born in Cape Town. I grew up in a small town called Riebeek-Kasteel on a farm called Kloofenberg. It's a wine and olive farm. I have 3 younger brothers and we actually had quite a blast on the farm.
In the evening when I'm coming back from the fields or from the vineyards, I always see, oh no, there's some of the bushes is out or some of the roses are broken. So then I know all the 4 boys, they are playing rugby on the big lawn. So, and then my wife always mentioned to me, don't be very angry with the boys, let them play rugby, not sitting in front of the television. So they really enjoy themselves.
Pieter-Steph was always most comfortable at home at Kloofenberg.
He's a farm boy, really. And I remember when he was a child and a baby, he was always getting into the Land Rover with me. And he was always enjoying himself. During January and February, we had the pack house where we packing table grapes. And he and Johan was working together and they must loaded the picking crates. When you're packing the table grapes, you pick it onto a wagon. And that is approximately 15 kilograms that you must working and pick up from 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's quite hard work, and I was motivated to do that, and I think they really had enjoyed it, to be on the farm.
An early inspiration for Pieter-Steph was his grandfather, Pieter-Steph du Toit.
My grandfather was a Springbok, and as far as I remember, I always wanted to become a Springbok. When I saw the first, I can't remember which rugby match was the first one I saw, but when I started watching rugby and the Springboks, the badge and everything in the Springbok badge was something I wanted to become.
The first step on the road to emulating his grandfather began in town at Laerskool Riebeek-Kasteel.
Primary school, I always remember I played, always trained rugby there on the primary school field, and the sprinklers was always on, and the water wasn't smell quite nice every time. And when my mother came to pick me up after school, after training, she had to come with a bucket because I have to sit in the back because it was soaking wet. We only had 1 team there. We're actually quite a small school, so I think I was playing 8th man then. I wasn't too bad, but I wasn't a standout performer at school in rugby yet.
When you're playing rugby into a small school like this, you're playing under 11 and you're playing under 13 because it's not a lot of people who want to play rugby. So you're playing a full game for under 11 and then a half game for under 13. So yeah, Pieter-Steph would play centre and under 13. He was a strong guy as a centre and he had enjoyed himself. And I think this is where he also had find his ball sense.
From there, Pieter-Steph headed to Hoërskool Swartland in Malmesbury, a short distance from Kloofenberg.
Ek kan dit baie goed onthou. Pieter-Steph onthou, ons sit in 'n gebied waar daar baie kompetisie is tussen skole om spelers te werf. En ons het werklik hard probeer om hier te kry. En op daai stadium het ons het nog steeds 'n busdiens wat Riebeek-Kasteel toe waar hulle woon in die pad loop langs die plaas verby. En die eerste ontmoeting wat ek met Pieter-Steph gehad het, is toe in graad 8 seentjie. Eers was in die koshuis. Toe sien hy nee, die koshuis lewe is nie vir hom nie. En soos wat julle weet, is hy baie lief vir die plaaslewe. Toe het hy op die bus begin klim en ek is een van die ouens wat busbestuur daar. Dis waar ek hierdie klein witkop seentjie in die bus sien klim het, soggens en maar dan weer teruggevat het. Dis waar ek hom eers keer ontmoet het.
Well, my wife always say, your house is the best hostel ever. So, and every morning he was picking up by the bus and then he was staying after school at the old lady's house, do his homework there, and then he was going for his practice of rugby. And I think there's definitely benefits in a small school than in a big school. In a small school, if you have the talent, the people seeing you going forward. But at the other side is also, if you're not in a very good school, then you don't have all the benefits of a good coaching and good coach staffing. But if you work hard and you believe in yourself, like Pieter-Steph had done from the beginning, then you will definitely make success.
A background in athletics proved a solid foundation for his burgeoning rugby talents.
I think discus was actually my favorite event. There wasn't too much training involved in that, so something I think that helps me a lot now in my life is the 400-meter hurdles I did. That was quite tough training. We trained at school as well. I was very fit at school doing athletics, so that's something I think helped me. I was always very competitive. I think that's with athletics as well. I don't like to lose or not to give my best. I'll rather give my best and know this guy was better than me than not give my best. So that's something I compare myself a lot to. I only started growing in grade 11, in December holiday. When I came back from matric, I was actually quite big. The guys didn't know what's going on.
Pieter-Steph was 'n goeie toe onder ouderdom gespeel was 'n goeie heelagter want soos wat julle reeds nou ook sien uit baie spoed. Hy's 'n sterk hardloper gewees op daai stadium, maar op 'n stadium het hy net te groot geword om volgens ons om heelagter te speel. Ons het gevoel dat hy vir die skool baie beter gaan beteken vir die span waarna hy gespeel het om by die voorspelers te begin speel en toe hulle hom begin flank speel.
I played a bit of flank and they told me I have to go and play lock. And I told the head coach, listen, I don't really want to play lock. It's not something I enjoy doing. And he told me, okay, no, it's fine. And when they picked the team for the match, I wasn't in the team. I was playing second team and then I was playing flank. And I was playing 2 or 3 games flank for them and that was actually playing quite well. And then they pulled me up again to play for the first team.
Pieter-Steph het nie, hy was nie reluctant soos wat hy het, maar hy het geweier om aan te speel. Hy wou glad nie die slot speel nie, maar as jy kan onthou, Andrew Liebenberg, hy het reeds glad 11 het hy vir Boland Kerwin gespeel op 7 flanke. Pieter-Steph het vir ons 7 flanke gespeel. Toe het ons hom gesê, jong, onthou net as jy 7 flank gaan speel in jou matriekjaar, dan is die kans dat jy gaan Kerwin speel gering, want die 7 flank van Valeria is reeds daar so. Ons kan nie dink en Andrew Liebenberg is 'n baie goeie speler, veral op skoolvlak was hy baie goeie speler. So ons het hom gesê jy het 'n keuse of jy speel 7 flank, jy speel nie kry 'n weekie, of ons begin jou by die skool slot speel en dan het jy 'n goeie kans om Kerwin te speel. En dis die enigste rede hoe ons hom kon oorhaal om slot te speel.
We were actually quite a good side, grade 8, 9 and 10. We were unbeaten for that years, and when we came into the first side, we struggled a bit in my grade 11 year and grade 12 year. We were actually the first team to win inter-schools, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. We last won it, so that was the first time we won it by 1 point.
Ons interschool is die Huguenote op Wellington. So baie goeie wedstryd, soos wat jy self so kon aflei. Gedurende interskole hier by ons tuisveld en by hulle is daar so 4-5 mense wat kom kyk, wat nogal baie vir ons is. En daar is so 'n vloek wat hulle al begin sê, want elke keer nog so ver in die geskiedenis as hy die Tooi vir ons eerste span gespeel het en hy's matriek, het ons nog elke keer die wedstryd gewen. Dit was in 2010 was Pieter-Steph matriek hier by ons, het ons die wedstryd gewen. Daarna was sy broer Johan was in 2013 'n matriek, dus interskole gewen. En op die oomblik is sy broer Anton is hier by ons matriek, ons weer interskole gewen. So ons hoop nou maar dat die sogenaamde vloek volgende jaar gaan voortduur, want hulle laaste broer wat hier by ons is, Daniel, is volgende jaar matriek en hy gaan ook eerste span speel volgende jaar, so ons hoop ons kan die vloek voortsit dat ons volgende jaar interskole weer kan wen.
A successful Craven Week in the colours of Boland cemented Pieter-Steph's reputation as a force to be reckoned with and provided a first opportunity to do national duty.
We were undefeated as well at Craven Week. We ended third, so we didn't play in the final, which actually would have been great for us to play there. I felt I played quite well at Craven Week, so I actually hoped that I would have been in the side, and I stayed till the side was announced there at the Craven Week and I wasn't in the side. And we had a family holiday planned afterwards. We went to Mozambique and there wasn't any signal there. And yeah, I think we were 2 days before we came back. Someone phoned me and my phone was off the whole time. And I actually turned the day my phone on. I saw I've got a SMS from this guy and he tried to get hold of me. And then they told me, listen, I need to come back. We played against England and they were quite a good side. I think Vunipola was in that side. They were quite a big guys.
Pieter-Steph is he's a very calm guy. We as a family respect him a lot and he always will try his best. And I think that made him to believe in himself when he was getting selected for the SA team. Yeah, we was very proud of him and I think then he had started to believe in himself. He had the rugby genes in him.
After successfully representing South Africa at junior level, it was time for Pieter-Steph to leave school and begin his rugby career in earnest, with Durban his destination of choice.
Before Craven Week, the Sharks approached me. They told me Will Australia was there, Hans Kriba, and they believed a lot in genes. And they knew my grandfather a lot. And they told me, listen, if you have the same genes, you need to come here. And they were the first guys to approach me. And I went there and I was contracted by them for 2 years. And then I stayed there actually for 5 years.
It was very difficult for Pieter-Steph to go to Durban. But at the end of the day, after 5 years, it was the best thing that can happen to him. Because he grew up in the house and he had a lovely mum who wanted to do everything for him. So he had going to Durban and there had stayed and started to make his own food, wash his own clothes after 2 or 3 years, after the academic. So that was really a big thing for him.
A career in the professional ranks beckoned for Du Toit despite his humble beginnings.
I don't really think I was at a disadvantage going to Swartland and till where I am today, and other guys have been to bigger schools. I had to work hard, but that's in any situation you need to work hard to get to the top. So that's something I don't think you need to go to a big rugby school to become a Springbok or anything like that. You just need to keep focus and remember and listen what the guys teach to you.
After the break, we see how Du Toit adapted to life on the East Coast as he continued his ascent to the top of the South African rugby scene. Welcome back to our look at the journey of Pieter-Steph du Toit from his early years to the highs of representing the Springboks and receiving the coveted title of SA Rugby Player of the Year for 2016. Du Toit began his career in Durban at the Sharks Academy, and his hard work and determination soon paid dividends.
Yeah, no, I had to work more. I started straight at the bottom there at the Sharks. The gym we trained in there didn't have aircons or anything, so we actually sweat a lot in that gym. The humidity in Durban is quite tough in the summer holidays. There was a guy called Andre Volstedt who helped me very, very much. They trained me a lot, extra hours. He believed in me, and I started playing for College Rovers there, for club rugby, and then I got pulled into the under-21 side. I was surprised a bit. The way they called the line-outs and stuff, that was completely new for me. I didn't expect how it works. I didn't even know about it. And then, yeah, I listened. My main thing was to listen and try to remember what they taught me, and from there I just grew. I was called into the trap pre-season side at the end of the year for December. I actually got an ankle injury then as well. And I didn't completely train with him for the whole season. I only started training to the end of the preseason with him on the field. And then I started playing Vodacom Cup again.
In 2012, Pieter-Steph's progress was rewarded with a call-up to the baby box for the IRB Junior World Championship.
It was the best experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. And it's something I enjoyed so much. It's actually also quite a funny story. That's me and my wife started dating in the Under-20 World Cup. We went to the same high school as well, and we never dated at school, just best friends. And when the Under-20 World Cup was there, we started chatting again after losing contact. And that's how things also started for us.
The junior box campaign got off to a poor start.
That was a difficult experience. David Tron was quite upset. The whole team was going through a big dip. And we actually sat on the, I think it was a Sunday, we sat and reviewed the game. And yeah, everything came out there with Brendan and Darby telling us what was wrong. We put everything on the table and only went from there. And then we played in the other pool stages. And we won, and we knew we had to win England by 4 tries.
Surely something on here, not a clever pass, but it still could come something to break on and away with Pieter-Steph du Toit. Try number 3, Pieter-Steph du Toit from the Sharks has brought South Africa within 1 try that they need. Surely the whistle, not yet. Yes, it is. There is the moment. And Davy Tron and Brendan Venter can celebrate with their squad, who have brought a remarkable result.
I will say that's also one of my top 5, top 10 games of my life I've played so far.
I think that was a cherry on the cake so far in his rugby career. We could not believe that he also had scored one of the 4 tries that evening. That was a fantastic atmosphere, really. So we really enjoyed it.
And South Africa have won the Junior World Championship.
World Championship glory, an incredible achievement for du Toit, and a great opportunity to appreciate the progress he had made as a player.
That's actually where it also started for me, is with Brendan Venter. He worked it with us. Then I think he was an amazing coach who helped us there, him and David Tron. And it was also something quite special for me. I was there, this nobody, and all the big guys there from Grey, Boys Eye, all the guys knew each other. I didn't even knew anyone there. I only know one of the 2 guys from the Sharks that went with me there.
His performances at the tournament did enough to convince Springbok management that he was ready to step up to the big time.
It gives me great pleasure to announce the Springbok squad for the Castle Lager incoming series in 2013. Pieter-Steph du Toit.
Anneke Meyer was the coach at that stage, and he actually approached me in Kruivenbeek as well. He was there working for the Bulls. So I started knowing Anneke a while back in 2010 already, and when he called me up in 2013, it was actually quite unexpected for me.
Unfortunately, an injury put paid to thoughts of a first test cap.
I played my whole season at the Sharks Super Rugby, and I actually picked up a sternum injury, and I only found out about that just before they announced the Springbok team for the incoming season. And I went to a doctor in Cape Town, and he told me, listen, I've got bad news for you. It's a fracture in your sternum, you're going to be out for 12 months. And I was sitting there and I actually started crying, and I told the guy, listen, how's this possible? From there I went back home. They announced the side. I was so happy, overwhelmed, but I knew I don't think I'll be able to play. I've got an injury. I went to the Springbok camp the next week. Went saw Craig Roberts, the doctor, told him, listen, this is wrong. I trained the Monday afternoon. We went for a scan again, to a different specialist, and he told me, listen, no, it's not that bad. You're only going to be out for 3 months. And when he told me that, I was so delighted. I knew the ball changed a bit for me.
After working his way back to fitness, the enticing prospect of a Currie Cup final was an occasion for the entire du Toit family to savor.
Yeah, that's also. I think that's also one of my top games. I remember playing there at Newlands was a dream coming true for me in the Currie Cup final.
And I still remember we was before the time before Saturday morning, we was at the Pieter-Steph's hotel to get the tickets from us. And he says to me, today is my day.
And how fitting, perhaps, that Pieter-Steph du Toit should be the one to make the steal of the lineup and bring the curtain down on an extraordinary performance from the Sharks.
And luckily, he was announced as the man of the match. And luckily the Sharks did win.
I think I'm the luckiest man on the earth at the moment, and I firstly want to thank our Heavenly Father for giving this opportunity for me to play here today. I grew up in Newlands watching Province play there against everyone else, and that crowd there, it was unbelievable, and the way we played and beaten them was extraordinary for me. It will be nice to play for the Springboks at the end of the year too. So I think it's a dream coming true for me, and I'm so glad at the moment.
On the end-of-year tour, Pieter-Steph finally got the opportunity to earn his first cap for the Springboks in front of a partisan Welsh crowd at the Millennium Stadium.
Yeah, we was very proud, especially myself and the whole family, my wife, and because after his injuries and everything, and so it was fantastic, and especially in that stadium, you had the atmosphere there, the people singing, the Wales, they love it, and yeah, I couldn't ask for more for that first derby.
Yeah, that's also quite special for me. I remember running onto the field. Some people say they're so emotional. I was just so happy to get on the field. I was just smiling the whole time. It was something for me I never thought was able to come true with the injuries in the past again, and going through the tough road I went through, and from the small place I came from.
The du Toit family's pride echoed throughout the Swartland district.
Pieter-Steph is everybody's son in this valley. So, and a lot of people say, you can see what at the guy, we had started in a very small school, in a very small town, and today he had to make a success. Today he was a Springbok. So for the people on our farm, who's working on a farm, for them is also, they can believe you can start from the level and you can going up to the top level.
Pieter-Steph suffered more injury woes the following season, causing speculation as to whether his body could withstand the rigors of the professional game.
I believe in Pieter-Steph because he will go on and fight for everything if he wants it. I think on one stage he was a little bit negative, but luckily we as family had support him.
I injured my knee the first time in 2013. Jake White was at the Sharks, and was quite funny. In the morning I actually woke up. We were quite tired of the training and everything at the moment, that stage. And I woke up the morning and I told myself, listen, yeah, today's going to be a good day. And we started doing lineouts in the morning and went into team training, and then just suddenly I sidestepped and my knee just went. So I was out for 11 months, rehabbed there at the Sharks. Jimmy Wright is the guy who helped me. I've got a world of respect for him. He helped me so much at the Sharks, coming back from the injuries. And then I started again in 2015. With the Super Rugby we played as well, and I was actually in good form at the stage, and we played in Bloemfontein. And I was going on again on the defence, that's the stage, and the guy stepped inside. And my studs got just stuck in the ground, and I lost my balance again.
That is not good news whatsoever for South African rugby or for that youngster Pieter-Steph. He stayed down.
He's holding that knee.
Yeah, so I was going to miss the World Cup. They told me my ACL is off again. I was like, okay, another 11 months. I went to see the doctor. The doctor told me, listen, I can't completely see on the scan what's wrong. We're going to go on the inside. If there's something wrong, we'll need to order ligaments.
The bad thing is we're going to wait for 3 weeks for a new piece of ligament from an overseas country. And I just think to myself, for my son, I will do everything. And I asked the doctor, but why didn't you use mine? And he was looking like me and he said, are you serious? I said, for sure I'm serious. And he said, come and sit on the bed. And he asked me if I have any injuries in rugby. I said, no. He was looking and I said, no, why not? And then he said to me, he will give me a call later this afternoon. He's just going to speak to some of his American colleagues. And 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he gave me a call and say, listen, I'm seeing you tomorrow, both of you in the theatre.
So both of us went in, lying in beds next to each other. They took me in for the operation first, for the scope, check what was wrong. A few minutes later, my father went in. How was this hamstring planting into mine? So yeah, it's actually quite funny.
So yeah, a lot of people say the new Land Rover was getting new old parts. So with the old parts in Pieter-Steph, I think the knee will definitely keep strong.
You'll say, oh, I've got a percentage of my contract, I have to pay him now. He's also became a Springbok and stuff like that, so it's quite funny.
After the elation of making the World Cup squad came the disappointment of the opening round defeat to Japan's Brave Blossoms.
We lost in Under-20 World Cup against Ireland as well. But Japan, it was a bit worse. So for us as a team, we had to sit in a team meeting and each player had to stand up and say, listen, what you're going to bring extra, what you're going to change, how you're going to help the team to not lose again, how we're going to win the World Cup. It was quite tough at that stage. That whole week was quite tough, the way we trained and everything, and you can see the coach was stressing for his job as well, so it wasn't a nice experience for me.
But the veterans within the Boks setup helped set the example to inspire the Springboks to get their campaign back on track.
I definitely learned so much from them. So it's unbelievable how they see the game and in rugby as well. They were quite senior guys at that stage, so I really had to adapt to them and the way they were used to their own culture in the teams. So that was actually quite easy for me to adapt, because this young guy comes in, you can't do anything else, you just need to adapt, otherwise you're out of the system again.
Ultimately, the Springboks succumbed to the All Blacks in an epic semi-final.
Good little burst of acceleration. Du Toit!
At the beginning of 2016, Pieter-Steph returned to the Western Cape to play for the team he supported as a child.
I always told myself I'm going to go back there. It was a dream of mine playing for the Stormers, and closer to the farm, my family, everything is there. That's where my roots are, and it was a dream just came true to go back there as well.
A return to his roots and the community that nurtured him.
Pieter-Steph is 'n plat op die aarde mens. Een van sy goeie eienskappe, daar's baie meer, maar een van sy sterkste goeie eienskappe wat ek sal sê is sy nederigheid. Op skoolvlak ook, hy's 'n baie nederige ou.
Because he grew up in a small town, we still had a lot of respect for each other. Respect for old people, respect for our neighbors, respect for nature, respect for everything. And definitely you can see it in Pieter-Steph that he believes in really quality things in life. And yeah, I think he will make a big success of his rugby career.
Oh, the interception now. Pieter-Steph du Toit.
A career which has always revolved around the desire to don the green and gold.
To play for the Springboks is something every rugby player in South Africa dreams about. They told us a while ago, I think it's 0.7% of rugby players in South Africa become Springboks. So that's quite a tough stat there. So you can never take anything for granted when you're playing here for the Springboks, and that's something I learned through my injuries as well, is how much you need to treasure the stuff you have in your life.
Du Toit's achievements are a testament to anyone wanting to follow in his footsteps that there are no barriers to success in the national team jersey, and the privilege of wearing the green and gold is available to everyone from every background, provided they work hard and give it their all. His future for the Springboks is bright, yet he will not allow complacency to stand in the way of him building on the achievement of winning the Player of the Year award. Pieter-Steph has made immense strides during his short career and will continue to provide distinguished service for the greater good of South African rugby.